Having good car camping gear can be the difference between being uncomfortable and miserable on a trip and having the time of your life. Today we're looking at car camping gear that makes camping insanely comfortable and enjoyable. Some of it is very budget friendly, and then some of it is definitely an investment. The first item I want to look at with you is an affordable option, and that's this love seat from Ozark Trail. You can pick it up at Walmart for $60, and there's a couple things that I really like about this chair. The first one being that it's insulated. So even if you're sitting around a fire and the front of you is really warm, if you don't have an insulated chair, your butt and back is going to get cold. The second thing that I really like about it is it has these enclosed armrests. So instead of having armrests that are kind of separate from the rest of the chair, it's all connected in kind of this bowl-shaped form. So it's really easy just to sit down and then take a load off and relax. Having a love seat is awesome if you're sharing your gear with somebody else. You can just cuddle up and snuggle, and it's gonna be great for that. A lot of the gear that we're talking about today is meant for couples. I'm out here with Steffi Poo on a little car camping trip, and we're using all of this gear that we're looking at. This next item is this fire cube from Outland. So it uses a standard propane tank in order to fuel it. During July and August, in a lot of places these days, you're gonna have a fire ban for wood fires. But propane fire pits like the Fire Cube are usually still allowed. Definitely check the jurisdiction that you're in to make sure that they are allowed. But they're a good way to still have a fire while out on a camping trip, even if you have a fire ban. What I like about this one is that it's small and compact, yet still puts out a really good flame. The square nature of it makes it really easy to pack up and store. And it comes with a really nice lid and carrying handle, so it's easy to move around. For a tent, the Nemo Aurora High-Rise has been blowing my mind with how awesome it is. It comes in two different versions, 4-person and 6-person. I have here the 4-person version, and it's relatively inexpensive at only $400 for the 4-person. $400 is still a lot of money, but it's not a ton for how much tent you get with the Aurora. Something that I really like with the Aurora series of tents is that they're also not super bulky and don't weigh a lot for how big they are. For the 4-person, it only weighs 15 pounds and packs up relatively small. For a car camping tent, size matters, and the Aurora 4P is very big. It's 75 inches tall, so it's big enough that I can stand in it, and then it's 90 inches by 100 inches in length and width. Another feature that I really like about the Aurora High-Rise are these window features. So you have windows on either side of the tent, which just makes it feel a lot more open inside and really helps with ventilation. And because you have this little brow going over top of the window, the tent is still very weather worthy. The Aurora High-Rise is also pretty easy to set up, especially for a tent this big. I was able to set it up by myself pretty easily. It only uses 4 tent poles and uses a standard sleeve system in order to get it up really quickly. The sleep system that we're using is also from Nemo. This is the Roamer XL sleeping pad. So we're using 2 separate sleep systems, and that's on purpose. You can get the Roamer as a double. You'll save a little bit of money, but I think there's a couple really big benefits of having this separate system. The Roamer pads are 70 inches long and 30 inches wide, so they're really big. You have a lot of room to toss and turn on them. They're 4 inches thick of foam and air, super comfortable to lay on, and if you're tossing and turning on your side, you're gonna be comfortable on this pad no matter what. I've used a ton of different pads for car camping and backpacking, and the Roamer is by far the most comfortable that I've ever used. I think my favorite feature with the Roamer sleeping pads is that they have toggles on both sides, so you could connect 2, 3, or 4 sleeping pads all together, and the toggles fit together really snugly so that you don't have any sort of gap in the middle. Steph and I use those toggles to attach our 2 sleeping pads together. That way, if you want to cuddle in the middle of the night, you can do so without having to cross this weird sleeping pad gap. While you can toggle the 2 pads together, what's nice about having 2 separate pads is that if one person weighs more than the other person, or if you have one person who's a very active sleeper and the other person isn't, as one person tosses and turns, they're not going to wake the other person up by them feeling that movement or them getting launched off of the sleeping pad as the air kind of inflates one side of the pad. For sleeping bags, we're using the Nemo Jazz 30 sleeping bags. These are synthetic sleeping bags that have a comfort rating of about -1 degree Celsius, and they're made to pair perfectly with the Roamer sleeping pads. So the Jazz sleeping bags have sleeves on either end that can go over the Roamer sleeping pad and then locks the sleeping bag in place. And those sleeves also have strategically placed holes in them so you can still toggle the sleeping pads together and create that seamless couple sleeping experience. Some other nice features with the Jazz sleeping bags is that you have zippers on both sides of the sleeping bag, so you can open it up and then basically just use the top part like a blanket and take it on and off as you get warm or cold in the middle of the night. It also has this sleeve that you can put your pillow in and just keep your pillow nice and snug inside of there so it's not flopping around the tent, you're having to chase it around. And then the nice thing that it has as well is that there's a sheet that snaps into the sides of the sleeping bag. and that sheet adds a little bit of warmth as well as more versatility if it is warmer out. And then if you have two Jazz sleeping bags like Steph and I do, then you can unzip the one side and then zip them together and create one giant sleeping bag, but then you still both have your own sheet as well. The other really nice thing about having two sets of sleeping bags and sleeping pads is that if one person does go out without the other, or you just want to lend the gear out to somebody, or they're not a couple, then you can still have separate sleeping bags and separate sleeping pads, which is going to be a lot more versatile for most people. Storage is also really easy with this system. Once you have the sleeping bag attached to the sleeping pad, you can just deflate the sleeping pad and then roll it all up as one, use the Velcro strap to attach it together, and then Nemo gives you a big enough bag that you can just put them both into that. It's bulky, but it's very convenient for just being able to unroll that and get your sleep system set up as soon as you get to camp. For pillows, we're keeping the Nemo train going with the Nemo Philo King pillow. So this is a combination air and then shredded foam on top. And it's a very big pillow, and what's really nice about it is that it's super tall. So if you have broader shoulders and are a side sleeper, then this pillow is going to be one of the most comfortable ones out there. It doesn't have a pad strap, but that's not really needed with that hood or pillow sleeve that you have on the sleeping bags. I've always been a big fan of the traditional Nemo Philo pillow. I'm a little bit skeptical about the Philo King so far. It seems like it might just be a little bit balloony and bouncy, but I'm willing to give it a good go this summer and see how it goes. These are some of the first times that I'm using a lot of this gear. I'm gonna be testing out a lot more and then giving you guys my thoughts on what it's like. I'm very optimistic that some of this gear is the best camping gear out there, but some of it I'm still a little bit skeptical about. This next item is the Sea to Summit water cell. It comes in capacities from anywhere from 4 liters to 10 liters. And when you're at campgrounds, usually they have some sort of water source like a tap or something, and you can take this, go fill it up, and then put the bag on the side of the table and have easily accessible water, or you can hang in a tree and fill up your water bottles that way. A couple nice bonus features with the water cell is that it's very compactable. So a lot of the time when you're going to campgrounds, you'll see people have big blue jugs of water, and those are great, but they take up a lot of room when you're trying to store them around your house, and they're also just big and bulky. These are much more compact and easy to store. As well, a little bonus feature with the water cell is that it has this little nozzle that attaches to the strap here. You can just put that onto the outflow of the nozzle on this side, and then you get a little bit of a shower head. So you can hang this up into a tree, put on the shower head, and then have a little shower when you're on a camping trip. Having a portable shower is great if you're on a longer camping trip and want to stay clean, or if you're going swimming in a lake or pool and just want to rinse off afterwards. Like I mentioned with the water bladder, something that's tough with car camping is that a lot of the gear is bulky and not very easy to store. These next two items address that issue, and they're both from Sea to Summit. We have the Sea to Summit X Pot. This is a 2.8 liter pot. As well, we have the X Mug Cool Grip. So what's nice about these is that they are collapsible, and because of that, they're very easy to store. They just fold up, become these very flat objects that are very easy to store in a bag or in a box. Pots especially can be super bulky, so having the X Pot as part of your camping gear system is going to help a lot as far as being able to store a lot of gear a lot easier. It has a 2.8 liter capacity and is great for boiling water or making things like pasta. Cups are another item that are pretty bulky, so having the X Mug here addresses a lot of the storage issues with mugs. And what's nice about the X Mug Cool Grip is it has these little ridges around the outside, which makes it so that your hands not gonna get burnt if you're putting things like hot apple cider, hot chocolate, or coffee into the mug. I also like to have it around for putting wine in. If you're also into backpacking, go check out this video for all of the gear that I think makes for a very comfortable backpacking experience. It's my ultra comfort gear list and goes above and beyond for getting comfortable while on trail and still being lightweight.